As a bit of a follow-up to my previous video, I decided that I would actually take some people's advice and do some testing at the shooting lanes. However, I think I want to do this a bit more detailed, like, by examining all this with all the sights and whatnot. Starting with this. Alright, hold on. So... God, I can't tell how much... They need to fix the HUD, because I'm having a really hard time telling, like, what distance that says. I'm assuming it says a distance? I don't know. But yeah, that's close range. Alright, I need more ammo. $25 meters? Is that far? Wow. I can't fucking see that thing. I need more ammo. Oh. I really can't see that thing. Alright, I think for the sake of simplicity, I think what I'm actually gonna do is just all 3 times, because I cannot see that far. The visibility is awful. Is there any way to reset it? Probably not, so I think for simplicity, I'm just gonna go over here. But yeah, almost every bullet there, when it was like a few meters away, was a headshot. Now, 25 meters, it'll be a different story. Yeah, you really need a 3 times in this game to see anything down to range with any clarity. See, this is where you need to tap fire. So I think sniping people down to 25 meters isn't really an issue on weapons with high recoil, because the HREC is actually relevant on weapons like this. But provided that you don't overcorrect constantly like I do. You can still get a lot of body shots. You can still get a lot of body shots with this. Of course, the testing that I'm doing here obviously is not the most accurate picture, because in the testing range, you can't yeah, so 50 meters. This is an extreme distance. So at this point, this is extreme distance. So at beyond the 25 meter mark is where things get hazy. But anyway, what was I saying? That HREC is really only relevant on these weapons if you're shooting out to what qualifies as extreme distance. But these weapons are still pretty accurate regardless, so you will hit something, you just may not kill. Now, alternatively... Oh, hold on. I'm trying to, so yeah, the Sturmgewehr can't really hit anything past 50. Does this go any farther than that? Does it go any farther? I don't know. But with the tap rates, you can still get some mileage. Can this go farther? 100? Wow. Okay, so this test range only allows you to go, like, This test range only allows you to go to 100 meters. That's fine. In close range and up to 25 meters, it's 25 meters is like the breaking point for this gun. We're not gonna do the semi-automatics because they have no horizontal recoil. Oh wow. Practically every shot there in close range is a headshot. This thing is a lot more stable. I'm not pulling down fast enough. Okay, so this thing is actually even more overpowered, provided that you can pull down on the recoil fast enough. Because it just has less overall sway, or not sway. It seems to have less HREC. Oh yeah. I'm hitting more shots at 25 meters with this thing. With proper, like, recoil control. Kind of. So for these close range weapons, 25 meters is like the breaking point. Where you actually need to tap fire. Like, if I... Yeah, hold on. So if you tap fire, you're basically going to hit every shot with this thing up to 25 meters, but in fully automatic, you'll miss most of your shots. I keep forgetting to change the scope. Oh, hold on. Almost every single one of those shots at like 5 meters was a headshot. This thing... Okay, so yeah, definitely I understand why they nerfed the STG after the beta now, because this thing is a lot more stable. Way more stable. It's definitely like your more ranged option. If I could just not overcorrect the recoil. I'm still hitting around half of my shots with this thing when I mag dump it like that. Hold on. 5-round bursts. I guess anything below exact head point is considered a body shot. But you see how it was a linear pull to, like, the... How that was a linear pull to down and left with the 5-round burst, because after the 6th shot, or after the 5th shot, the recoil delinearizes. This thing is very accurate with burst fire. I guess I could see 50 meters since the 25 meters isn't particularly a breaking point. You know what, I should probably reset that score so I can test tap fire individually. I'm still hitting enough shots at 50 meters, even though it kicks a lot with tap fire. And this is without, like, much of any recoil control, because I'm not actually thinking about controlling the recoil there. Okay, that was awful at that last bit. So yeah, this 50 meters is, at least in the shooting range or shooting lane, seems to be the breaking point for the STG, which is different. Then, unfortunately, this is where things are gonna get complicated, because the SMGs don't have any good sights. Almost every single one of those at 5 meters was a headshot. On a non-moving target, obviously. The Sten is very accurate, so... Alright, let's try this again. Like, 25 doesn't really seem to be much of a breaking point for the Sten. Because I'm still hitting enough shots with the Sten at 25 meters to kill someone in mag dump. Now, obviously, with recoil control and tap rates, it's a different story. I should start my aim point. I need to start my aim point higher because of the reset. But with tap fire, I was hitting most of my shots at 25. With tap fire, I was hitting all 32 with that. The Suomi is where things will get tricky. Have they still not fixed that where it'll reset where your cursor was for selecting sites and whatnot in the menu there? That's been an issue since... It's been an issue either since the beta or since the launch, and I don't know why they haven't really addressed it. Obviously, I imagine, yeah, so the breaking point is actually, for the Suomi without any perks, the breaking point is actually shorter than, it's actually shorter than 25. So shorter than 25 for the Suomi, but you can still hit stuff. And with tap fire at that range. Breaking point is sooner than 25 for the Suomi. Where it, like, won't be able to really hit anything. I don't like the fact that irons are just useless in this game. Once they fix visibility, that might change, but until then... Hitting just enough shots with a mag dump at this distance. Oh, standing actually reduces... crouching actually reduces recoil. I need to do that again. Standing or crouching reduces recoil in this game. I had 11 shots there to the body. But to be fair, it's unlikely that you're going to hit the head. It's unlikely you're going to hit the head when these SMGs don't have anything better than the Lati sight. I wasn't really supposed to test hip fire, but... But now with tap fire, the MP40 works wonders at 25. It's hitting a lot of shots at 25 with tap fire. This one definitely kicks all over the place to the left and right once the recoil delinearizes. But with tap fire, that was very accurate. Five rounds. Can I get away with the irons for this? Maybe. It just makes the sight just makes it more clear. Dude, the EMP breaking point doesn't seem to be 25 meters. Breaking point does not seem to be 25 meters for the EMP. Yeah, this is very accurate to 25. It's weird that neck shots are counted as body shots on these targets. Damn it, I wasn't trying to do that game. This is still a pretty accurate weapon at 25, but it's not as accurate as, like, the EMP. Oh, hold on. Need to reset that. But you're still hitting very accurate tap fires. To 25. Etc. I really wish you could test the DLC weapons, though. Almost every single shot there was a so breaking point is also sooner than 25, or shorter than 25 on the Thompson. Even with the tap fire. I'm not hitting much. I feel like I'm hitting about as accurately as the Suomi, which is very inaccurate at 25. Even though, strictly speaking, I don't think their stats are particularly comparable. No bipod. So I need to stand a little further away, so that way the bipod doesn't trigger. Okay. They must have decreased this thing's, they must have drastically increased this thing's bullet drop. Because I don't remember this thing dropping that much. Like, this much. Oh. I guess visually speaking it looked sooner, but it really wasn't. Ren. This thing has always been stupid accurate. All of that was a headshot, because there's just... All of that was a headshot, but... Not all of that wasn't. And that's off the bipod, so... This thing does not have a breaking point of 25 meters at all. This thing is still very accurate to 25. The breaking point is beyond that. Actually, now that thinking on it, I keep forgetting to put the scopes on these weapons, so it's whatever, I guess. Damn it. Alright, so I'm gonna have to redo my tests of the Bren and the K7 with the 3 times. Because this is very accurate. Alright, let's redo the Bren really quick. Oh yeah, I'm definitely hitting more shots with the 3 times. Way more shots with the 3 times. Yeah, this is very, this is still very accurate. But not as accurate as the Bren or the Lewis. Although, to be fair, they did nerf the K7, so, this is kind of expected results. Now, with tap fire, that thing actually hits very accurately. Okay. So, that's everything, pretty much. But yeah, actually, the one thing I do want to see is what bullet drop is like on the Suomi. I don't care about hitting the target, I just want to see. Dude, that doesn't drop until very much later. It's crazy. Well, I have effectively concluded that, that inaccuracy is only really relevant on a few weapons in the game beyond when going outside of their effective range. Like, the breaking points of the Suomi and similar weapons to the Suomi is without a doubt below 25 meters. The Suomi is basically like a really bad automatico. But on weapons with lower RPMs, recoil isn't particularly relevant in any kind of way. It never has been, and honestly never will be. Where's this Firestorm challenge thing? Did I gloss over it? Probably. But, you know. There it is. But, like, on low RPM weapons, especially the Bren still surprises me. The Bren can still mag dump down to 25 meters without any issues, really. And the TTK is fast enough that it's not really a waste to mag dump, at least, especially on support. Which is unfortunate. But regardless, this makes me want to do Bren Gun as my next mastery. But, you know, recoil still isn't really relevant. Like, even though I did some more accurate tests, like, the recoil still isn't particularly relevant, provided that you're, provided that you're, within your effective range, which varies from weapon to weapon. But if you're shooting to what counts as extreme distance, then you can't hit anything. Unlike in Battlefield 1, where you could actually control the random bullet deviation. Like, that's the core issue with the gun mechanics in this game. That's the core issue. You really just can't, you can't really control where the recoil goes or mitigate it. The only thing you can do is hope that the enemy you need to engage is within your range. You basically have less control over where your shots go in this game than you do in previous installments. The recoil-based mechanics, quote-unquote, give the illusion of more player control when in reality control is taken from you because you can't predict, control, or mitigate randomized recoil, unlike random bullet deviation, which you can control and mitigate by changing the way you fire. Mitigating random recoil only does so much. You're still going to be forced to be inaccurate after a certain point. And that's the thing that I just don't like about this game. On one hand, you have weapons where recoil simply does not matter, like the Brand Gun, and on the other hand, you have weapons like the Suomi, that are just garbage because they don't bleed into other weapon ranges very well and have basically force inaccuracy on the player as opposed to letting player skill mitigate the quote unquote deviation. But the weapons in this game still have no sips regardless. Like there isn't any real like bullet spread in this game. All that bullet spread is translated into recoil, and if you're within your effective range, the recoil doesn't really matter, at which point you just mag dump. And that's the problem. The way to fix this is not to improve upon the terrible gunplay mechanics of this game. The way to fix this is to just to go back to Battlefield 1's gunplay mechanics, figure out what went wrong with those mechanics, like how unintuitive they were, or the tap rates being a little too strict, and then adjust the spread values so that way it will be even more rewarding. But this is the whole gunplay mechanics of this game. They feel good, kind of, but they're just not that great, and it would be better if they were scrapped in the next installment.